Welcome to this explainer. Okay, right off the bat, the material we're digging into today hits us with a pretty wild claim. Money is actually not your biggest hurdle to building wealth. No, the real problem is your psychological framework. It's the way you literally think about money that's keeping you stuck. The wealthy, they just don't think like the rest of us, and that is exactly why they pull ahead.
Let's be brutally honest here. You are your own ceiling. You've basically built this invisible limit right over your own head, mostly based on how you were taught the world works. But here's the harsh truth. The clock is ticking. Every single second you spend operating under the wrong psychological framework is costing you time you can never, ever get back.
And this creates such a painful, exhausting cycle for so many people. Think about it. You work incredibly hard for every single dollar, right? Only to instantly hand it straight over to the landlord and the tax man. Then, just to cope with how draining that is, you buy stuff. Status symbols, really, just to feel alive for a second. But what's the ultimate result? You're stuck on a treadmill, you're exhausted, and your bank account stays completely empty.
So let's break down one of the biggest lies we've all been sold, this whole idea that time is money. The source material points out an entirely different reality. Time is finite. Money is infinite. When you fall for that lie, you end up trading your strictly limited time you are never getting back, for literal pennies.
The wealthy, though, they operate on the exact flip side of that truth. They absolutely do not trade their lives for pennies. They actually buy other people's time. Instead of working a job, they own the systems. And listen, as long as you are trading your finite time for a guaranteed paycheck, you're really just a gear in someone else's machine.
Which brings us to a really tough question. Seriously, take a look at your last 5 years. Are you actually building something lasting, or are you just surviving? Because for so many of us, it's just treading water, right? Paying the bills, resetting to zero at the end of the month, and doing it all over again.
And look at the massive disconnect here between what we blame and what we actually choose. Oh, it is so easy to blame the government for high taxes or your boss for not paying you enough. But what about the other side of that equation? You're actively choosing to walk into the designer stores. You're actively choosing to finance a car you can't afford just to project outward status.
The text calls this the paradox of the rich victim. This is someone who creates their own financial mess through terrible choices, but then turns around and constantly points the finger at external forces. But here is the profound takeaway from all of this. The rich victim is a complete illusion. There is literally no such thing in reality.
Okay, so how do we actually shift this mindset? Well, the absolute core of billionaire psychology is relying on logic, not emotion. They aren't out there chasing the fleeting emotional high of a new status symbol. Instead, they look at it logically. They take their capital and buy assets, things that actually pay them and generate more capital, while completely avoiding those shiny, depreciating liabilities.
There's also this huge psychological divide between comfort and uncertainty. Look, human nature naturally craves comfort, right? We all want that safe, guaranteed paycheck. But comfort is exactly where wealth goes to die. The wealthy understand that massive, life-changing opportunity lives almost exclusively in the realm of uncertainty.
Mechanically speaking, this completely changes how you handle your money. The normal approach is, just saving whatever crumbs happen to be left over at the end of the month. But people who actually build wealth, they invest before they even eat. They force their money to go out and work for them right out of the gate.
And the math on this is dead serious. Right now, literally every single hour, the wealth gap is getting wider. The source emphasizes that the next 10 years are your decade of sacrifice. If you don't take radical action, if you don't make those sacrifices today, the default trajectory is that you're going to hit age 60 and you're going to be completely broke. And the consequences of doing nothing? They don't just affect you. Right now, while you might be endlessly scrolling on your phone, someone else is out there learning. While you sleep, someone else's assets are compounding. Staying on the sidelines basically guarantees one thing: your kids are going to inherit your exact same financial struggle.
Now, I know it's easy to look around and feel like the opportunities just aren't there anymore, but the source argues that your mindset is acting like a literal blindfold. Massive opportunities are flying by you right now, but your psychological ceiling is hiding them from view. Meanwhile, the people who rip that blindfold off, they escape the trap and leave you behind.
So, let's talk about how we actually break this cycle. The text lays out 4 clear, actionable steps. Step 1, stop just asking for more money and start building a bigger capacity. Step 2, take 100% ownership of your situation. Step 3, accept the pain that comes with growth. And Step 4, go out and learn a specific high-value skill.
This really shatters that old myth that just working hard is enough. Listen, the market doesn't care about your effort. It only rewards excellence and value. It's not about mindlessly grinding away at a job that's going nowhere. It's about aligning your skills with what the market actually demands. You basically have to give yourself permission to be rich.
Ultimately, it all boils down to a very simple binary choice. Being broke, that is incredibly hard. But building wealth, yeah, that's incredibly hard too. You just have to pick your hard. The ticking clock we talked about earlier doesn't care about your excuses, and it certainly doesn't care about your comfort zone. So as we wrap up this explainer, I'll leave you with one final critical question to ponder. What is your move going to be?